Hey everyone, we are here in studio for the Roseanne After Show here at AfterBuzz TV, kicking off season 10, episode 7, Go Cubs. We are bringing all things political to the After Show tonight. We're talking undocumented workers, Fox News, Skyping Afghanistan. Stay tuned right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh, friends, we got a good episode tonight. We're getting a little heavy. We've got a lot happened in tonight's episode. Episode 10, episode 7, Go Cubs. The politics have come full circle. We have been talking about we don't really know how we feel about the political interjections in the show, but they're bringing them tonight, so we're going to be covering all of that. I'm your host, Blake V, and I am joined by my lovely co-hosts. Let them know who you are.
Hey guys, I'm Jennifer Leone, and you can... Oh, we do that later. I'm Jennifer Leone.
And I'm Jennifer Leone. No, I'm just kidding. I'm Michael Shirley. Good to be back again tonight.
Yes.
It's Michael Shirley.
Yep.
Michael Shirley.
Did y'all not know?
That's us. we know now. We know now. We know who we all are. Excellent.
Blake V Media.
That's right. That's right. In the house. Cool. So tonight's episode, we, I feel like every show we've done our predictions and we've kind of seen like where the trajectory was going to be in these shows, and we really felt like they were going to be bringing new things every episode. But tonight was very political, very very back into kind of the the debut episode feel. I feel like the premiere kicked off that tone.
A little less hostile for the most part. I mean, there was that grocery store scene, which was pretty intense. But.
Yeah. That was really intense. We'll touch on that later.
Yeah. So we'll kind of start. We open the episode talking about the neighbors, who end up being a pretty prominent part of the whole story tonight. So, it's clear that Roseanne is sort of the conservative Republican one, if you will. Jackie kind of interjects her liberal, nasty woman take on things. So at the beginning, they immediately have this interaction where there are Middle Eastern neighbors that move in next door. They're having some suspicious behavior, according to Roseanne. Too much fertilizer on the lawn, very suspicious.
Easily explained, though.
Easily explained later in the episode. I mean, Amazon is dangerous.
It really is.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Click of a button.
It's very dangerous. So immediately she starts with the terrorist talk because they're Middle Eastern, so clearly they would be.
The rake.
Right?
The
She's
rake.
like, I'm hidden by the rake. So I feel like that set the tone for tonight's episode. I mean, I thought that tonight's episode was very fiery. Like, there were a lot of moments.
I really liked tonight's episode.
Yeah.
I liked it on so many levels. Just the way that they handled everything. I think that she does a really great job in just tackling issues in the best way. And tonight was no exception, It was just great.
I think kind of like last week, this one really feels like an old school Roseanne episode.
Yeah.
I mean, different time, but very much fit right in with like what we would typically expect from her. It seems like Roseanne kind of doesn't like anybody, anything unless she has a reason to. So it kind of feels like I don't know. She's got to get got to get down like with the empathy.
Right.
Like whenever she, like in the past, it seems like she always like changes side when she can kind of like see herself in the person's position.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think the fact that I forget her name, but the lady that lived next door, pulled out the EBT card. It was like a special club that Roseanne was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like
okay,
I think
this
it
is
changed
us.
things for her a little bit.
Yeah, and you're totally right. She finds that sort of human element to relate to in any situation. She would always do that with Dan, too. Like, when they were getting into arguments and they kind of had their sides, she would always play devil's advocate and try to find, like, the other point in the story. So, like, she's good at that. She's totally good at that. And, we see later in the episode, which we'll talk about in a minute, but they essentially need to get the Wi-Fi password from their neighbors so that the granddaughter can Skype with her mother. And so it's this whole story of her kind of going back on her initial comments and like biting her tongue and going over next door and really making friends in order to get the Wi-Fi password.
What you call it?
I mean, in her way, yeah.
Yes. For Roseanne, I guess that is how you make friends.
In her way, yeah.
In her way.
So that whole interaction was really terribly awkward and terribly funny, right? Like, her and Jackie go over at 2:00 in the morning, which they answered their door,
right?
Which was already like, I probably wouldn't answer.
No, I wouldn't either.
I'd be like, no one's home.
No, that's suspicious. It's like, who's ringing my doorbell?
We live in like apartment buildings, right? Like, I feel like that's a little different. Like, if someone's like knocking on your house, you're like, oh, they're for sure here to see me. Like, I don't know about you, but I've had several times people knock on their doors and they're like, oh, sorry.
Oh, me too.
And like, walk away.
All the time. And like aggressive knocking too.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes there's like aggressive knocking and I'm like, I don't know who you're trying to see, but I'm sure
But
that
if they're
isn't
like
me.
on your property, it's like you and them are the only one there. You might as well go see what's going on.
For your own safety, I guess.
Yeah. Baseball bats and all.
Exactly. So they scope it out, and Jackie brings the plant, and Roseanne has her baseball bat that Jackie has to move.
You know, when she brought that plant, I thought they were going to say something about fertilizer, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was a small missed opportunity. But whatever. I don't know.
Roseanne Miners.
Yeah.
Right? That's so true. That would have been a great interjection.
Yeah, it really would have been.
Yeah.
We've got plenty of fertilizer, so.
Right?
We thought you could use it.
This plant will live long. That was a funny thing, though, their interaction. I thought that it really went from like 0 to 60 real fast. Like, they were real quick to be like, oh, you don't want to Skype here because you definitely think we're terrorists and you definitely hate us and we definitely are going to do these things. And I was like, whoa, I thought that was just like a real quick advancement of the conversation.
They only got 20 minutes.
Well, I also think,
touche.
given what she said, or what he had said about the experience she had, and that's why the little boy was wearing like a bulletproof vest, I think they're just probably quick to like, well, what now?
Yeah.
Just like kind of expecting negativity.
Right.
Yeah, like you have to be coming here and
Yeah, it doesn't seem like
threatening
they've had
us.
a great welcome to Lanford.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It looks
and
like
then
that just made you really sad.
It really
you were
did.
Like, your face
Very
is totally
empathetic.
They're not having a good time in Lanford. What? No, really. And then that leads us into kind of our last moment with them in the grocery store where she has that horrible interaction with that cashier woman.
That was
Which also
so
made me really
intense.
sad.
I was like, do people really do that? Because like, I would really like get arrested for like
Well,
punching you in the face.
yeah.
Yeah.
In Arizona, I had a sandwich thrown at me and at Subway and was told to go back to my country.
What?
Yeah, I swear to you. So it happens.
Jen, oh my gosh.
I know.
Where
I
do
know.
they think you were from?
I think Mexico because
Oh my
Arizona
gosh.
has a
Yeah,
very
yeah.
big like thing with that.
Yeah.
It was this older lady, and I didn't understand
She
why
worked
she.
there?
Yeah, she was making sandwiches.
Please tell me you like said something to someone.
I didn't register
Yeah.
it. I
in the
didn't-
moment, that's hard too.
I mean, I grew up in a very Irish Catholic neighborhood. I grew up in Chicago, like very Irish Catholic, and so I mean, I
You
just
didn't hit her?
didn't think like that. You know what? She hit me with the sandwich.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I just want to get out of here.
Yeah, yeah.
I was moving to LA actually, driving through with my truck.
Oh man.
and, yeah.
Whoa. Yeah,
And-
you just want to get back on the road.
And by truck, I mean like, it was a Penske truck
Yeah.
holding my Lexus. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like I was like a truck like I came off from the fields. Like,
you drove a truck to carry your car.
and my stuff.
You can do that. All right, we'll get into that later. Okay. Go
Michael
on.
just got some really good information for his
did.
upcoming movie.
Yeah. Go on.
Yes.
Girl, I can't believe that happened to you. That's an incredible story. Oh my goodness.
So I mean, it happens,
Yeah.
and you wouldn't think that it would be, a Subway or like, a grocery
Grocery store. Yeah.
Well, apparently it does.
Something must have happened to her to act that kind of way.
I didn't get it because I was just like, okay, you got turkey, and she just had this look, like
Turkey?
she was just making the sandwich with this look on her
Oh my
face,
God.
and I'm like, okay. And then when I brought out my card, she threw it.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That
you
is
didn't
so
pay
crazy.
for it, did you?
I honestly, this was I don't even remember what happened.
It was just like a blur, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Just like trauma.
Cause my boyfriend was in the car. I'm like, I gotta go. Like, I'm just like very.
As you're like
Yeah.
picking lettuce out of your hair, like,
Yeah,
okay,
literally.
sandwich thrown at me.
If you were prepared, you probably would have acted a certain way.
Probably. Oh yeah, if that happened to me in Chicago, you kidding?
Yeah.
No way.
Hindsight, right? Like, if only we could go back and relive these moments that are just so crazy you don't see them coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really that important to me in my life, but the thing is like
It does happen.
It does happen.
Yeah.
It's not something that I would just like talk about regularly, but it's there.
Yeah.
and I never experienced it before in my life. Like,
Oh my
never.
gosh, that's crazy. People are crazy. People are crazy. But I get, just like you, it happened to you. It happens, and that was a good eye-opening moment to see. Really, like, people get.
Yeah, go back on your camel.
Yeah,
Wow. Well,
terrible.
my neighbor did say something to my dad, when I was young, saying something like "go back to your country" type crap, and he's from Poland.
Yeah.
So it's like what? So I have no idea.
Yeah.
And he's not. My dad's from Chicago.
Right. Oh, it's strange. People are so strange. But an eye-opening moment nonetheless. And, another major component of tonight's episode was the fact that DJ finally came back.
He had more than like 2 lines.
Yes.
Okay, on that though, I understand why. He's, to be honest, and I don't want to be mean, but he wasn't that great of an actor. Like, it was very hard for me to watch him.
Right.
I don't want to be mean because I do like him, but it was just very difficult to watch.
I was actually talking about that on a podcast I did today. I was being asked about Roseanne and about what did I think about the new cast. And I was like, well, and they're like, DJ's, not really in it very much. And I was like, well.
Yeah, that's probably why.
He was so great as like a little boy, and they had like this really cool bond, her and him. But I think it was because it was kind of natural, like
He's a kid.
He knew her at such a young age, and just filming together for years. But like once it got into like season 7, season 8, it was kind of like you could tell he's acting. Whereas the
Yeah.
other people, you're kind of caught up in what they're doing, and you're not
Yeah.
really like,
Yeah.
There are a few actors out there that really just pull me out of it. But
Yeah.
Well, he was one of them for me.
Yeah.
I couldn't even listen to what he was saying at first, because I was just kind of distracted by the
Oh,
performance.
yeah.
But I was happy he was back.
Yeah. I just have so much nostalgia. I think I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
It was fine for me. I wish that even regardless of his acting scenario, I would have liked to have seen more of him up until this point, regardless. For me, regardless.
More like
So-
involved. It's like
Yeah,
he's like a
around.
separate entity. It's like,
Yeah.
the other side of the family. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they bring him back though, and it's great. And he brings his daughter Mary, who we get to see more of the family dynamic this episode, which was great because we've been curious all season. So basically, DJ is married to Gina. Gina, which we've kind of known from behind the scenes. I don't know if this has really been discussed in the episodes yet. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Gina is the little girl from the very, very important, iconic episode way back in season 7. I think it was season 7, where DJ is
No,
supposed
that was
to
like
kiss her
season like
earlier
2.
season, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was like, he was a little bitty boy.
Yeah. So he was in a school play, and he was supposed to kiss her, and he felt uncomfortable, and it brought up a really important race discussion, essentially. And so it was like a really iconic episode. But that little girl ends up being Gina,
So
his wife.
cute.
Well,
So
it's
it's
kind
a
of
great
very,
tie-in.
very much like kind of how Anne Marie and Roseanne met is kind
Yeah.
of how her new neighbor and her meet. Like they're put in like this crappy situation, and then they find common ground. in
Yeah.
it. which is like the EBT card, but
Yes, very true. So for anybody who didn't catch Anne-Marie, their friends Anne-Marie and Chuck, who were in many seasons, came back this episode, and that's how Roseanne met Anne-Marie. Was Becky had the middle finger flipping the bird scenario in her school picture, and the moms got called to the principal's office to get in trouble, and they had like a whole reconnection from their high school time. So yes, this was like a really cute tie-in of how things kind of come full circle.
in the chat, Joseph Boza says, "You know it's bad when Anne Marie can't solve the mess that Roseanne gets herself in."
Aww. Yeah.
And he also says Roseanne is always the nosy neighbor that hates everybody. And I think it is. I mean, I think it was about time we get a new neighbor.
Yes.
For the Roseanne cast.
You have to.
Yes.
There's always one floating around that that
Always
you
a fun
need.
side story. Yeah.
Definitely. And this is really poignant too. Like this is a really, really everything is really timely that they're touching on. And so even with DJ, like he's come back, he was discharged from the army, and the reason that Mary's coming over to stay the night and needs to Skype with her mother and everything is because DJ is going to visit the VA essentially for his kind of, regular appointments, if you will. He lets Dan know later that he's been going to therapy there at the VA, and these are all just, really timely topics that they're covering, and it's good.
I'm wanting to think, I mean, I don't want to say that like maybe they realize he's not like an actor. Like like Sarah Gilbert, she kept kind of acting and then moved on to be like a host. I mean, maybe they knew he wasn't really into like the
Comfortable with it,
Hollywood
or-
scene anymore, and maybe that's why they choose to give him this storyline that he has where he can be kind of distant and have some problems and be secretive and just kind of away from the family.
I think it's a good storyline for him.
Yeah.
They're doing a good job.
I mean, it's working so far, and
Yeah.
he was back tonight, and it was good, and, he's part of a even though he hasn't been here a lot, he's part of a very key, storyline just in terms of their family and politically timely, all of these things. So tying in Gina, the mom and the wife, Mary, the granddaughter, gets to Skype with her, and then we finally see her. We see her on the Skype screen from Afghanistan.
I'm assuming
Cute.
that's the same actress.
Yeah.
I don't feel like they would work her in unless they got the
I
same
would
actress.
love that fun fact.
Yeah.
I think that's cute.
Yes. In the spirit of bringing everyone back and all the cameos and everything, I'm going to vote yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That is the original actress.
Yeah.
We need to do some research. We need to dig deep.
I know, right? We'll figure it out.
We'll figure this out. Let us know. If you guys have any idea, let us know.
Another thing that I think is really interesting, I keep going back and thinking about what Roseanne said probably like 4 or 5 years ago about what she would do if they rebooted the show, how it would go. And she said like she and Jackie would own a medical marijuana clinic, and DJ's job, he was going to be like a famous like filmmaker, because we saw at the end of the series he was like recording everything. So I don't know, I wish they were rich still. They had like fabulous lives. I don't know,
Yeah.
wouldn't it be great to see like in Chicago instead of in Lanford?
And they still have the couch.
Maybe season 2 we'll all wake up and they'll be rich again.
Oh my gosh. What a great spin.
Maybe.
I mean,
Right.
Roseanne did say that was her favorite season because it pissed everyone off.
And it was fun. It was so fun. I mean, without a doubt, it would be so entertaining for them to have this money to play with and just their lives be ridiculous and different. But it's like, Roseanne really brings that level of realism with everything she does. So it's like, I think no matter what, she's always kind of like trying to bring it back to reality. Even though that one season was so fun, she couldn't do it for the reboot, I feel like.
Once upon a
Season
time, 518 Alex says, "Tell you the truth, I've noticed sometimes when they are younger actors, they're fantastic. But when they get older, it gets a little too awkward."
Yeah.
And that's why, that was kind of like what I was saying with, I think he was so young, it was kind of like just playing pretend instead of like, all right, I'm an actor, it's like serious.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I like the way that Lacey Goranson, her character grew up, and I actually liked Sarah Gilbert more as she got older.
Which is funny because I think that for me, I would say that all of it's true for all of the kid actors. Like, I think that Sarah Gilbert was so adorable as a little spunky Darlene.
Yeah.
And then, like, you know, as she grew up and
Ooh, I
kind
just kind of wanted to like put her in the corner.
Oh my God, I loved her. I lived for her. Like, I just thought she was wonderful and hilarious and like so witty and quick and the best.
Great timing.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All of
She
them were
took a
great
lot
actors.
after Dan. I felt like she's like such
Yeah.
a little
Tomboy.
old man.
Oh my gosh, she was a
Love that.
little old man. I loved her.
I love that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's so true. Look at Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen.
There's
so many
That's a topic.
Well, good luck trying to find them.
Well, they were at the Met Gala, I'm telling you.
Well, they go to that.
faces
I
are
think that's
gone.
the one they do.
It's the one that they do.
Yeah.
Those two are so interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
else is interesting?
Speaking of leading interesting lives, do you want to have fun and learn and grow in all the areas of your life? Well, for those that do, we've got the podcast for you. Conversations with Maria Menounos podcast edition is hosted by our very own AfterBuzz TV founder and drops every Friday on iTunes. From health and wellness to career, relationships, finances, and more, let our Maria be the big sister you've always wanted. Just go to iTunes and subscribe to Conversations with Maria Menounos, and it's free, best of all. So be sure to rate and comment, and when you get there, let Maria know that we sent you from the Roseanne After Show. Conversations with Maria Menounos podcast edition. Check it out. So we can all be life coaches like Jackie and get life information from Maria. And we'll all be on top of our lives. It'll be fabulous.
I love Jackie, and I love that she threw in, I'm a life coach, so if you need it.
Yeah.
If you need to get assimilated,
Well, on
I'm
a
for
side
you.
note about being fabulous or whatever, once upon a time, 518 Alex also says the whole panel has a really great hair.
Ooh,
We're here for that.
thank
Yeah.
you. Oh, we like
so
that.
much.
We love that.
We have to wear these things, so we,
Fabulous.
but thank you.
I know that's our struggle is like the
Yeah.
headphones are so large they get in the way. So thank you for seeing through the headphones. We love it. Okay, so my favorite Jackie-ism from tonight was the ghosted stories.
So I dated a guy for 3 weeks. Already know it's a lie.
I wanted more ghosted stories. Those are horrifying. They're the worst kind.
I was actually surprised Jackie would even know what that term meant. But I mean, being that she is the serial dater, she is like. I mean,
probably
maybe
the-
just because we haven't seen anyone with her yet, so you just
Right.
kind of think she just gave it all up. But clearly, she hasn't.
Can we just talk about ghosting for a minute?
Yes.
Like, so wait, so it's just like people just don't text you back, and then the other person just doesn't text back at all ever, and just says goodbye. We don't
Okay,
speak anymore.
okay, no,
There's two different kinds of ghosting.
Let's talk.
Yeah. So the ghosting that I am familiar with is that one person like still has hope
Yeah.
and is like, hey,
And the other person's
I'm
like,
still here. And the
already
other person
deleted your number.
just straight up is gone.
yeah.
They don't respond. They don't do anything. They don't tell you goodbye. They don't let you know what's happening. They don't let you know that you're being ghosted. They just straight up ghost.
And then there's social media ghosting, where someone like follows you and like watches all of your like
Stories.
Okay.
and doesn't ever like anything of yours.
Oh, I have a lot of
That's
those.
like being a ghost and hanging around and ghosting.
I have so many. I've been ghosted so much by social media. I have like
Call
12
them all out. Tell them you know.
all
You
12
see them,
point
see them.
something K of you guys. You don't like my stuff.
Quit
It's fine,
watching,
I don't
start
care.
liking.
I don't care, but that just makes a lot of sense. Like, I'll get a lot of views, so that makes sense.
It's a different kind of ghosting.
Yeah, a lot of views.
It's complex.
It makes sense. It doesn't bother me, though.
You're like a haunted house up in here.
Yeah.
Jen,
Instagram's haunted.
Jen in her haunted house.
This whole thing is a haunted house.
Scary.
Filled with ghosts.
Friggin' scary, let me tell you. Yeah, no, but the ghosting is like it's like a new thing that people just ghost. Nobody
If you don't try to date anyone, you don't have to worry about it.
It's strictly dating.
Well,
No, I'm-
yeah. I mean,
Do you ghost friends? I think you just are like just not friends anymore when that
like
happens.
social media, like that's what I mean. Like, do they have
The
to be
social
guys
media
that you dated?
ghosting's
They're all
just like
friends,
anyone
everyone.
who's just like jealous and thirsty and
haters, thirsty
want to
haters.
see what you're doing.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe I have any of those.
None of those exist.
None
for
of
me.
those exist.
No. Yeah, dating's Dating's a weird, it's a weird animal. It's a scary place.
Especially here.
Yeah.
But I bet it's even harder in Lanford, to be honest.
Yeah, clearly DJ dates some girl that he knew at 6.
Yeah.
So look at that.
The pickings are slim.
And look at what happened to Becky and Darlene.
Roseanne.
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 Every single one of them.
High
Yeah.
school.
And then if you didn't snag one by the time you were 6, you end up Jackie.
Jackie. Well, hey, I wouldn't have mind with Clooney. Would have locked that down real quick. She's like, get off Clooney.
Let us live, okay?
Living back in the day.
Jen and I just we want Clooney. Let us live.
Just let us live. I'm gonna tweet Clooney. He's
Get
gonna
in
hear
here.
me.
He's like out of the business. There was a story about Amal Clooney
I don't want to hear it.
arriving to the Met Gala with her husband George, and I was like, he really is done. Like, man, that was weird.
Old George.
George.
Who even remembers him?
No.
Poor George.
Oh,
Nah, we don't feel bad for him.
I will never.
There's nothing to feel
You'll
bad.
never.
Great life.
Absolutely will never. Yeah, so I feel like now that things have been revived in this storyline, kind of back to the political standpoint, I feel like we're going to get more of that the rest of the time.
Well,
the
two more
last 2
episodes.
episodes.
I think you're gonna see just because that Roseanne character likes Trump doesn't mean that she's not a. I can't believe I'm saying this. Roseanne's a good person, right? Yeah, I think that she's gonna show that you can be a good person and still.
Despite your political beliefs. Yeah. Definitely. And we've introed this family now. And I mean, they were a big part of this episode, and the cute part at the end where he came to pay back the money at 2 a.m. And she's like, did you have to come at 2
That was
a.m.? And
perfect.
he's like, yes, I did.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yes, we're going to see more of them, you know?
Yeah.
In some type of capacity. Like, they set that up in a very thorough way.
Yeah. And they'll all probably, like, I think, get along. Like, they'll be actually, like, really good friends. And hopefully, like, season 2. Like, I love all of the angles that they're doing with the show. Like, of course, they would have these, you know, very cultural appropriate neighbors, and, you know, their children are, you know, it's just the way that they are. I love that they're doing all of it, but in the right way. It's not tacky. It's not too much. It's just, I think, perfect.
We're gonna also be getting a lot more like stuff with illegal immigrants because of Dan's job. I mean, they talked about that in interviews. How Lanford. I always thought that it wasn't like a real place, but maybe they are basing it off like a specific area.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure they are.
to like research they did, like 65% of that area is all Mexican now. So it would make sense that Jan would be losing jobs like that. So I think we're gonna get more into that, and Becky working at the. I mean, they even were saying like, wait till we get the tamales before you start talking like too crazy.
The terminology, yeah.
Yeah.
Like they went in heavy with the sort of like risque terminology in this episode. Like initially with Roseanne talking about the neighbors, like calling them terrorists and that they're from like Talibanjistan or whatever. And then later with Dan and the illegals, like he's just real quick to call them the illegals, you know, and Chuck is like, let's call them undocumented workers, thanks. Like there's terms for everybody that are not the words you're using. And that in and of itself is very timely and major, you know, just the way in which we speak about everyone and everything that's going on right now. Even that conversation alone is important, you know?
I do want to stress, too, that in Illinois, there's not that many, like, areas that big that have a lot of Mexicans or anything like, I don't know, it's very, 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 I don't know, just very middle America.
Yeah, it's a long way from Mexico.
Yeah,
It is.
the fact that there's a giant percentage is probably like there's something going on there. I don't know, like I don't know the history on that, but I just wanted to stress that like in Illinois that's not normal for that to go down. So like the fact that Lamford has that many, I mean,
Or just like a certain area in Illinois has a highly concentrated
yeah,
Mexican
like,
population.
they're probably very small or like very concentrated in one part.
Yeah.
And have a lot of work or something. I don't know.
Yeah. And just, that's something that we definitely deal with a lot in California, being right next to Mexico.
Right.
I mean, this is a major issue that we've been speaking about for years now, and, undocumented work and dreamers and all of this. And so it is interesting that they're pulling that into the work experience, and that Dan is getting underbid and losing jobs, which, by the way, I feel like Dan shouldn't be doing drywall anymore.
After how many years?
It's been like a million years.
Yeah.
I feel like we need to start looking at retirement and the
Or
fact
maybe
that...
another bike shop.
Or the bike shop, yeah.
Connor and Son. Like when he said that this episode, I was like, I wonder if he's going to be making a career change.
Yeah.
Me and DJ are going to start the bike shop. Actually.
Yeah.
should.
Well, it's the perfect setup. It's like they're losing bids to drywall. It does not seem like that's the lucrative thing that it was 20 years ago, 30 years ago, for them. So, yeah,
Maybe
the
they can all
economy's
work
better.
at La Casita Bonita. Wouldn't that be so funny? Like
Me
the
amo, Becky.
lunchbox,
Yeah.
like they just kind of take it over and they're just serving like loose meat enchiladas and stuff. They're like serving the same thing but just in a tortilla.
Right.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant.
I'm telling you guys, it should be a write-up.
You
on this
should-
show.
you should.
I'm always getting
You're
these
blowing our
great
minds.
ideas.
Roseanne could be like, it turns out tortillas are cheaper than, bread.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Sandwich buns.
we're doing that. That's what we're doing.
Call us.
Yeah.
We got it. We got you.
Michael's just hitting us with the good stuff every week after week. We're loving it.
Me amo Roseanne.
Me llamo Roseanne. Yeah, and then, 45 years of Dan and Roseanne, they mentioned it. That was like a one-liner that they mentioned, and I thought it was adorable, and I
So
circled
cute.
it right here.
So cute.
That's like my final takeaway. Right? With a little heart. I have it with a little heart right here. Oh. Dan and Roseanne, 45 years. I wish that Dan and Roseanne were a couple in real life.
I would love that.
Like, for reals. Roseanne Barr and John Goodman in real life. Together.
I wonder who
Forever together.
I mean, she wouldn't have lost that much money.
No.
Like she did to Dan Arnold.
Dan Arnold.
Tom
Tom Arnold.
Dan, Tom.
Yeah.
It's late, you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I just love them.
Yeah, I love them too.
I don't know.
Great.
I'm assuming John Goodman's probably married and has children.
He is,
I don't
and
know.
does,
Yeah.
and has.
For years.
But I'm just saying, in my own dream world,
Universe.
I just love them together. So that was Go Cubs.
Yeah.
Great.
What do you guys, right?
I like that.
What do you guys, maybe let's jump into a few predictions here. I know we've kind of touched on a few of them already, but we can just kind of officially rein in our thoughts.
Your AfterBuzz TV.
We only have 2 more episodes, guys. And then that's going to do it for our season 10 reboot. So our last 2 episodes, what do we
Yes.
think is going to come together? I mean, definitely I think that more is going to happen with the Next Door Neighbors. It was set up in such a way that that really put it into this scenario of like friendship going forward. And I think that coming into the next season, as they come back for, the next season of this reboot, I feel like they're going to tie it in even more too.
They're going to be buddies.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely.
And they're great. Great lines, great everything. Like, I love how
Yeah.
they're building the characters up, what they're starting. Like, they're
When he brought that
sassy.
over at 2 a.m., I was like, they're going to be around
For
for a while.
sure.
Sassy.
For sure. And the son, I see the son
Being friends.
becoming close with Mary.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Roseanne kind of looked at him like, looks like. In my head, it was kind of like, he looks the same age as our little girl that I'm over here talking about. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I would love that.
And the fact that like her mom is in Afghanistan, and then just tying together just that sort of bridging that gap, of just the whole kind of immigrational Muslim lifestyle
We haven't
versus
seen
how Roseanne's
how
family takes
DJ's
it.
gonna react either.
Right.
He like some shell shock.
Right. I think that probably, there's a lot going on with Mary, and there's a lot of questions that'll come up, and it's innocent coming from a child. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of innocent questions, like just how there was with DJ, why he didn't want to kiss a black girl, like is that there was a lot that came up, and it's honest, and I love that. So I think that there's going to be a lot of that, but I think this would probably be a heavier episode than I think we'll get next week. I think next week will probably be lighter, and maybe I think that the well, your prediction's coming next. I And then the last episode will probably, I think, blow us away.
Yeah.
I think it'll be really...
1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Of the finale.
I think we'll get a cliffhanger for sure.
Ooh.
Yeah. Something good.
That lottery cliffhanger, like, I can't imagine watching that in, like, real time and having to wait, like, a year.
No.
Like, yeah.
That'd be torture.
Yeah.
She'd have to come
Utter
back.
torture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like September. I need her in fall.
Like you said, we only have 2 episodes left.
Yeah.
And one thing that the cast addressed when they said, what kind of issues will you be tackling? They said they'd be tackling opioid addiction.
Oh.
And so that, I think I mentioned earlier this season, I was like, I think David's going to be the one. Now I'm like... Well, then when I realized it wasn't going to be him, I was like, I wonder if it's Roseanne because of her knee. And then now I'm kind of wondering if it might be DJ.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to find out who the culprit is. But the thing that I'm like, oh, God, it probably is going to be like Harris.
Oh, Harris.
Those bad kids she's been hanging out with. I don't know. But I think we're going to find out one of them.
We haven't gotten a lot of Darlene's kids in the past few episodes, I feel like. Well, there's the birdhouse thing, but...
Well, Harris gives her looks. Like, everything Roseanne says, like, Harris looks like she hates it.
Yeah.
So I think that's just kind of like, I think they're kind of
That's the
setting
rule.
a scene
Okay. All
for
right.
her. I don't know.
They need a longer season. I don't know, you guys. I do Housewives, and they have like
37 episodes.
They have so many.
They don't pay those people very much, though.
I've been doing from December to now. It's May, and I get what? How many weeks of Roseanne? I need more of
I
Roseanne.
100% agree.
9 is such
those
a weird number.
It is. And those Housewives episodes are an hour.
Yeah.
We only get 22 minutes,
Thank
Roseanne.
you. Roseanne, come on.
We need so much more.
You're like 4.5 hours compared to like 30.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So I think we can only hope that like the next season comes with a quickness because we have already done without
Yeah, right.
for this reboot season. We just want so much more. We want longer episodes. We want more episodes. I'm hoping that I'm hoping also that in the next season, I want there to be like a little more cohesiveness. I feel like right now each episode is like a little segmented with each character kind of being like taken away for a few episodes and then being brought back and then being taken away. There's like a lot of separation between them all, and the storyline isn't quite flowing the way that it used to in like old Roseanne. In the previous seasons, like everybody would be in every episode, even if for a second. You always saw Bev pop in and out, and then Dan was here, and all the kids were here, and then everybody was here, if even for a moment. And now it's like they're giving each person their own episode.
They're all grown up, they don't.
It's really segmented for me.
They don't all live in the same house, They're not children anymore, so they do have kind of their own lives, but. This episode, it seemed like we saw everyone, but they weren't all in the same place.
Right.
Together.
And I'd almost rather it be
You want a family dinner?
Well, or not even like, for me, it doesn't even have to be at the house per se. I almost want to go to the locations of where everyone else is.
Disneyland?
Yes. All at Disneyland. You know what I mean?
Like Becky, where Becky's at. So the family comes and sits with, Becky. And she's like, yo, amo with Becky. I think it's funny. Like,
exactly.
You got all the kids and everyone together. I think that would be good.
Yeah. Or DJ, we go to the VA with him.
Love that.
Or, you know what I mean? Just
Maybe
wherever.
we find out Becky's like so upset about all this. She's going out and getting wasted and hooking up with guys, and she just ends up pregnant.
I want that to happen so
She
bad.
does.
I
Jen
really
does.
do.
Yeah.
I really want her to get pregnant.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen.
2 more episodes to find out.
That's the cliffhanger.
Maybe.
And it's like, by who?
Sarah Chalk.
It went through. The future actually went through. No.
The eggs were viable. Good one, Steve. Good one, Steve. Thank you. Oh, our engineer, Steve, is the best. So I don't know. I feel good about episode 7. I think we've got some good things in store for the final 2. You guys got anything else to add?
I love this episode.
I'd like to
great.
thank Michelle for following me from Project Runway over to Roseanne. Thank you.
Yay!
That's cute.
Y'all have anything?
I liked it.
I liked it.
I liked it a lot.
That's
Excited
a
for next
wrap.
week.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in and checking out our after show. We will be right here next Tuesday talking about episode 8. I'm Blake V, and I've been your host. And you can find me on all social media at Blake V Media, and my lovely panelists are...
Hey guys, I'm Jennifer Leone, and you can find me on Twitter.
I don't remember.
Yeah, let's do Twitter at Jennifer Leone TV.
And I'm Michael Shirley. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Michael X Shirley, and on Sunday nights at 10 on Marvel TV Weekly.
Woo-hoo! We love you so much. See you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Keven Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you
Buzz you
later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.